I'm Gabby.
And I'm Shanna.
And we're 27 Travels.
And one thing you need to know about us is that we come to the island of Curaçao every single year because Gabby has family here.
Yeah, so my family is actually from here. My dad moved to the States when he was like 17, and we come back every year. My grandma lives here, and I have so much family here. The second Shanna and I started dating, I wanted to take her here and show her how special the island is and why it's a second home to me.
So we put a question box on our Instagram asking you all if you have any questions about Curaçao, like what you want to know about the island, because since we come all the time, we have a lot of information, but we don't necessarily know how to like put that information out there. So we wanted to know what you all wanted to know, and you guys gave us really good questions. So this whole video we're going to be answering every single thing you need to know about Curaçao. So one tip that we always say for anyone coming to the island is that we think you really should rent a car to explore. I mean, you can't really walk that many places on the island. Even though it's a small island, it's not really super walkable, and the public transportation isn't really that good. So we definitely recommend renting a car. So that's what we have currently. So today we're driving our rental car around the island, and we're gonna go explore. The whole island, if you were to drive it from like beginning to end, takes about like an hour and a half to drive the whole island. So it doesn't take that long, but you definitely need a car to go to some of the more like remote places on the island. Or if you even want to go like a little bit off-roading, you might want to try and rent like a 4x4 or something that can do a little bit off-roading, because there are some areas on the island where you could do that.
So another thing that we always do is that Shanna bookmarks things around the island, and she downloads Google Maps for offline. That way we're able to get anywhere around the island even when we don't have service. So highly recommend doing that when you're on the island as well. Okay, so we are walking around in the Peter Mai district right now, which is an area in Curaçao, and it's basically like right now this really cute and like up and coming neighborhood. It has a lot of like restaurants, shops, hotels. We would definitely recommend coming and staying in this area if you're coming to Curaçao, just because there's a lot to do here. Everything is walkable, and even if you have a car, you don't need to take it to go to restaurants necessarily, so it's great. Shanna and I have stayed in 2 hotels in this area. We've stayed at Blau Blau, and we've stayed at Scuba Lodge, and both were really amazing to stay at.
One of the questions we got was what is like the price of food and drinks and stuff here. So the price of food here is like a little bit expensive. It's actually similar to the price of food in New York. So for us, since we're from New York, it's kind of like paying the exact same amount for food and drinks and things like that. I would say alcohol is a bit cheaper here. Like I think cocktails are only like $10-ish per cocktail, where in New York it's more like 15 to 20. But since Curaçao is an island, everything has to be imported here. Therefore, a lot of stuff that isn't grown on the island is going to be a higher price because of that. So be prepared to pay about like $15 for like a meal, maybe like $6-7 for a coffee. You can find cheaper things, like the local food could be like, I don't know, like 2 guilders, which is maybe like $1 or like 50 cents or something like that. But yeah, just kind of be aware that like the prices are like a little bit more pricey, but that's because it is an island and a lot of things do have to be imported.
So a great place to get some local food is at any snack stand. So this is one of my favorite ones. This one's in Punda, and you can basically get juice, pistachi, lumpia, any of the like local snack foods that are cheaper that you can buy. These are basically different food trucks along the island that serve food at night. So it's kind of like if you grab a drink, a late night snack, but the food is amazing and local, and you can get so many different things, especially really good French fries with spicy pica on top, which is like a kind of like spicy sauce. They have sandwiches and French fries and really good things like that. A batito is a local drink that you can find in Curaçao. It's basically like a fruit smoothie, but made with all local fruits. You can find these at so many different trucks on the island, and it's the perfect snack. Another local drink you can find is agua limonchi. It's basically like lemonade, but made with limes. And Otrobanda are like 2 separate sides of town, and they're connected by a bridge, the Queen Emma Bridge, which is a floating bridge that you use to get from one side of the town to the other. So there's not only local shops, but there's also some big brand name shops that you can go to when you're in town over here.
thing that brings tourists to the island of Curaçao is cruise ships, actually. A lot of cruise ships stop here on the island, and it's really good for tourism here. So right behind us is actually a cruise ship that's here today, and it's really, really big. And the cruise ships park in this area kind of by the floating bridge, which we're going to show you in a second, and you'll see a lot of tourists from all different countries walking around the town of Punta and Outra Banda because it's right near to where the cruise ship is. So this right here is the floating bridge, and it's called the Queen Emma Bridge, and it actually opens up when big ships need to pass through. So right now it's closed. As you can see, it's connecting this side Punta to the other side over there, Outra Banda. But sometimes when a ship passes through, the bridge will have to open up, but then there's a ferry, which is kind of over there past the cruise ship, that will take you from one side to the other.
Okay, so as you can see behind me, we're in front of the Curaçao sign, and this is a very touristy spot. Like, all the tourists come here and like take photos and like pose in front of it, but it's a cute place to come for sure. So one of the main questions we got from people online is what languages are spoken in Curaçao, and the truth is there are so many different languages spoken in Curaçao. People here speak Papiamento, which is the island language. They speak Dutch, Spanish, English, so literally so many different languages that people speak, and my family speaks all of the above. They actually speak Dutch here because Curaçao is part of the Netherlands Antilles and is actually owned by the Dutch, and hence why there's so many Dutch people, and Dutch is spoken a lot here, as well as there's so many Dutch traditions and stores and things like that on the island.
One thing that Curaçao is really known for is Blue Curaçao, which is a liqueur. And as you can see, they're advertising it right behind me. You can actually go to the distillery where they make it on the island if you want to. Gabby and I have done that like a really, really long time ago. But they're famous for it because there's actually these like special oranges that only grow here on the island, and they're really small, which makes them really, really bitter, which makes the liqueur taste really good.
So we are at the salt flats right now. There's a few of these in Curaçao, and basically you can see flamingos over here. They come and they eat here, and they like walk around in the water, but today they're actually super, super close, and this is something that you have to do when you're in Curaçao because how rare is it to get to see flamingos in the wild up close?
So I'm not sure if my camera can pick it up. I think you can. So they're right there. They're actually really, really close today, but I'll film on my phone because this lens is super wide, but they're actually like probably about, I don't know, 10 feet in front of us right now. So one question we got a lot of was, what is our favorite beach or beaches on the island? And we actually have a whole separate YouTube video and blog post about our top 5 beaches, but today we're actually at a beach that's not on any of those lists, and we're at Curaçao.
Yeah, we love this beach. It's really nice to come here. There's amazing like clear blue water, and you can snorkel, and it's just so nice. Not to mention they have chairs at this beach, and like they serve like drinks and food to where you're sitting, so that can be really nice and relaxing if that's what you're looking for in your beach day.
Yeah, it's actually part of the Coral Estate like hotels, so if you're staying at Coral Estate, this beach is part of like their property, but you can still come to the beach even if you are not staying on their property, which we think is really cool. And they actually don't charge you. You only are supposed to like buy like food or drink while you're sitting in your chair.
Okay, so for a beach that is a true hidden gem, you have to come to Director's Buy. It is beautiful here, and it's just something you cannot miss. It's not touristy, the water is so blue and so clear, and it's apparently also an amazing place to come snorkel.
another one of our Curaçao hidden gems, although we do notice that this year is a lot more popular than it has been in previous years. It used to be an old fort that was used to protect the island, but now it's abandoned and it's kind of like a cool hike where there's like epic viewpoints and things like that. So you all asked a few more questions about Curaçao that we weren't able to like show, but we still wanted to answer in this video basically.
And I feel like we have a lot of clips from Curaçao, so we might insert some clips of some of this stuff in there randomly
during this part of the video.
During this part of the video, exactly.
Well,
because
I'm just getting the questions.
The crazy thing for us is that like all of these questions we know all of the answers to, and we pretty much have done all of these things, but like in different years, because like every year when we come, we kind of do different things. So it just totally depends on what we're doing like in the year.
Okay, so one of the questions was, is there a direct flight? And for that, it kind of depends on where you live. Like in New York and in Miami, there are direct flights, and if you live in like other parts of the Caribbean, there are also direct flights. Oh, there's also direct flights from the Netherlands too, obviously, because it's part of the Netherlands Antilles. So I would say those three areas are probably like the biggest hubs. So like New York, Miami, and the Netherlands are probably the biggest hubs of where to get a direct flight. So if you happen to live in those areas, there will be a direct flight. Otherwise, you probably have to fly to one of those places first and then go to Curaçao.
So someone asked us about the queer bars / beaches in Curaçao. There really are no specifically queer bars or beaches in Curaçao. It's just not something that we have here at the moment. I mean, there is a Curaçao Pride that happens in September.
However, we always say that for the two of us, we've always felt very safe and welcome here. Like, we don't hide our relationship while we're here. We are very like open and affectionate with each other, and no one has ever said anything to us like in a negative way or anything like that, which is not the case everywhere that we travel to. Obviously, use your own discretion and when you're going to any place that you're traveling to if you're like a queer couple, but for me and Gabby, we've never had any negative experiences here as a couple. So someone else asked, what is the best activities to do in Curaçao? And there are so many good ones. We actually did one this year that we hadn't ever done before, which was the crystal clear canoeing, but we're gonna insert some clips now of some other activities that we've done. There's also a national park called Boca National Park. There's Cristóbal National Park, which is where you can go hiking. We did ATVing last year, which was super fun. A few years ago, we did a tour of the Blue Room Cave, which is like this cool like underwater cave in Curaçao. Obviously, this year we did the crystal clear canoeing. You can also go to Klein Curaçao, which is like the smaller island, like 50 miles off the coast of Curaçao. It's an uninhabited island and it's beautiful. We also did that one year.
Basically, there are so many different activities that you can do on this island that are amazing. Not to mention, to me, going to the beach is an activity, and there's like so many different beaches that you could go to.
Yeah, there's over 20 beaches on the island. There's so much to do on this island. You will not get bored, we promise you. Someone else asked for like tips and tricks, like that kind of stuff. I would say one thing that we tend to do is if we want to go out to like a restaurant or something, we make a reservation. Only because we typically visit Curaçao during the busy season, and it's really hard to get into restaurants without a reservation. Sometimes you have to wait a really long time, or sometimes they just turn you away at the door. That actually happened to Gabby and I this year. We walked into a restaurant, they're like, sorry, we're full, and we're like, oh, okay.
We're like, oh, guess we have to start making a reservation again.
So if you're coming not during the busy season, you probably won't have to do this, but maybe it's just a good tip just to know, just in case, that if you want to go out to a particular restaurant or a bar or something, just call ahead or go online and make a reservation. That way you can guarantee that you can eat there. You probably do want to have some guilders in cash when you come to the island. Like, most places do take card, but there are some places, like if you want like a local like petito or food from like a local snack stand, those places don't take cards. So it's nice to like have some cash on hand. Also, when you're paying for the beaches, they do take American dollars, but they also take guilders as well. So I would say have some guilders on hand. You don't need a ton of it, but it's just good to have because some places don't always take card. As for the best restaurants on the island, obviously I'm vegan, so we typically only go to places that have like a vegan option. We actually have a whole blog post and a whole video on our favorite vegan food on the island, which we do need to update because we went to some new ones this year. So we'll leave a link to the blog post in the description so you can check out some of our favorite places on the island. Okay, so I think that was all of the questions. Hopefully we answered all of them for you really well in this video. I mean, like Gabby said, we know so much about this island, but sometimes it's hard to like put everything into like one place because we just know so much information from like years and years and years years of like coming here.
It's like you have to ask us the right questions
Yeah.
and then we have all the answers, but it's hard to just like share all of that information all the time.
But thank you all so much for watching this video. Hopefully you learned a little bit more about Curaçao. Hopefully we answered your burning questions about the island, and if you come here, hopefully we gave you all the information you need to know to have a really good trip.
Yeah, if not, you should probably drop your questions down below because we can answer them, or maybe we can make another video sometime answering all of those questions if there's some different questions that we didn't get to.
Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you soon with another video. Bye.